See, what they want you to do is react in a negative way that perpetuates the narrative that they have been pushing. And the narrative that they've been pushing, collective, is you're evil. You're a villain, villainous. You're the bad guy. Because you got to be the bad guy. Somebody's got to be the bad guy, and it definitely ain't going to be them. Because they ain't trying to take no accountability or responsibility for what they did. People do the most vile, evil things. Put people through anguish. They're determined to make people's lives a living hell because they're triggered by those people. They don't want to examine why. They don't want to take accountability for what they did. And it's easier to just point the finger at you, right, collective? Yeah. People are constantly pointing the finger at you. And when you don't rush to defend yourself, oh God, it's good for your peace, but it's good for them too. Because now they don't have nobody challenging the untrue things that they've been spreading about you. People just love spreading lies, spreading gossip. They see you as an easy target. And this whole thing, the way people treat you, it's orchestrated and it's calculated. It's meant to enrage you. That's why Spirit wants you to kill them with kindness. Forgive these people and let them go with love. Not because they deserve forgiveness, and not even because they deserve your grace, because they don't. They don't, but it's not for them. Forgiveness, giving people grace, it's not for them. It's never been for them. It's never for the other person. It's for you. So you don't have to carry around that baggage. That's what they want. They want you to be weighed down with the anguish and anger that manifests as a result of people lying on your name. People believing the people lying on your name. The co-conspirators. It's a conspiracy to make you enraged and to antagonize you, push you into saying something regrettable. Because they want proof. That's why they try so hard to psychologically torment and torture you in any way that they possibly can. And if you can't prove it, all the better. That's why they do little things, little passive-aggressive things. That's why they do it like that. So if you try to call it out, you can't quite call it out because you don't really have proof of what they're doing, but you're so intuitive. You could see the writing on the wall. You could read in between the lines. You could tell when somebody's being shady, passive-aggressive, backhanded compliments. That's why people do that shit to you. They will not outright attack you most of the time, so they can have some type of plausible deniability. They love that plausible deniability because if you call them out, you'll look crazy. If you react, you'll look crazy. You see the theme here? They want you to look crazy. They want to call you delusional, paranoid, schizo, mentally unbalanced, mentally unstable, unwell, mentally ill. They're trying to gather up evidence by strategically antagonizing you. They want to lure you into an argument. They put out little bait, hoping you'll take the bait, hoping you'll bite. And then every time you act with indifference, every time you respond to hate with love, they don't like that. They don't like that because now they ain't got nothing on you. They don't have a leg to stand on. All they have is their lies. All they have is their deception. They're hoping people go along with what they're saying, believe the narrative. And they do for a very long time. Your own family, friends, coworkers, people that you know, people that you encounter in your day-to-day life. They'll go along with it. They'll believe it because it's easier to believe somebody who is skilled and experienced in lying and manipulating. It's easy to believe them because they become a character when they lie about you. It's like, how can I describe it? They really get off on assassinating your character. They love when people believe their lies. That's the one thing about these compulsive, pathological, habitual liars. The biggest thrill for them is when people believe their blatant lies. Completely made up, fabricated. They just be pulling stories out of thin air, embellishing things that never really happened, twisting your words, putting words in your mouth. They'll even rearrange the sequence of events as far as like what happened between you and them. They'll rearrange the sequence of events to make it seem like your reaction or your response to their mistreatment was disproportional to what they actually did. Because what they'll do is they'll try to twist the story in order for them to look like the hero and the victim simultaneously. They want people to feel sorry for them. They want people to be on their side, back them up. Because they know they don't have a leg to stand on. If they actually face facts, they would have to confront guilt, shame, and be pushed to feel remorse. And they damn sure ain't trying to do that. That would require introspection and dismantling the parts of themselves that they want to keep hidden. They want to keep those parts hidden forever. But you threaten that. You threaten their identity. Because their identity is built on a foundation that is not solid. And then when people see that you're solid, you don't care to identify with one thing or the other. When people think that you are ambiguous, people hate ambiguity. They hate like androgyny. They hate anybody that's neutral, in the middle, impartial. They don't like that. Because then they don't know what's your affiliation, what's your label, who do you identify with, what do you identify with? People don't want to figure it out for themselves. They don't want to do a deep dive into their own subconscious, so they're damn sure not going to do a deep dive into yours. They want to know what's on the surface and how can I judge you for that? Where can I place you in the social hierarchy? How much respect should I treat you with? Should I believe what you have to say? Should I treat you with dignity? Or should I just believe the lies? Should I just go along with what everybody's saying? Yeah, I think I'm gonna just do that. That's how they see you. The way that your mind, it's too intricate. It's too complex. People can't handle you. People get overwhelmed in your presence because you're pushing them to think for themselves. People don't want to do that because it's scary, because it involves confronting things that they don't want to confront. People want to take the path of least resistance. They want the easy way out. Tell me what to think about them. Tell me their whole story. What's their deal? People love the gossip. I mean, everybody just feeds into it. It's a system that relies on people feeding into it and getting off on the gossip, on the lies, on the drama. It gets to a point people don't even care if it's true. They love the speculation of it all. And then you're shy. You're introverted. You keep to yourself. You mind your own business. They don't like that. They do not like somebody that minds their own business. They do not like that because they want you to behave in a way where you're acting as though you want to be liked. You want to be accepted. You want to be embraced by the group because that makes them feel validated, like they're important enough. Like what them and their group has to offer is so special and remarkable that somebody like you will want to be a part of it. The fact that you don't want to be a part of it reminds them of the fact that they are quite unremarkable. That's why people don't like remarkable people. People that are different, go against the grain. People hate when you don't have a clear-cut opinion or identity or label. They don't like that. They don't like having to figure something out. A lot of people, they try to figure you out and they give up halfway through. They don't have the introspection necessary to do an introspection on you, to do an inspection. Okay, collective? They just don't get it. They don't have what it takes. It's not in them. There's no way that they can figure out somebody like you, and that upsets them. People that can't figure something out, they react angrily, violently. They lash out at things that they do not understand, because things they do not understand makes them fearful. They fear things that are unknown. It's human nature, fear the unknown. It's ingrained biologically in us to fear the unknown as a survival mechanism. What spirit, God, the universe wants us to do is challenge those biological systems that are ingrained within us. That's spiritual ascension. When we go against our human biology, when the technology becomes outdated. But people don't want to challenge themselves in that way. They want to take the easy way out. Something happens, something goes wrong. Who can we blame? Who can we throw under the bus? Who can we make the scapegoat? And then that's where you come in. You're the scapegoat. You're the one that they throw under the bus. You're the sacrificial lamb. You're the sacrifice. Because you came down here to take one for the team. You knew you would be mistreated. Before you incarnated here, you knew how all this shit was going to play out. But when we get down here, it's upsetting. It's depressing. It's isolating. Because that's how the system is designed. The circumstances are orchestrated to isolate you, to make you go crazy. Because then they can discredit you once and for all. What they want is concrete proof. That's why I don't like to hear about people, being antagonized, stalked, and then you lash out. That's what they want. That's what they want. Defend yourself, absolutely, because you ain't no bitch. Sometimes it's not always appropriate to turn the other cheek. Sometimes, you gotta let people know what's up, that you're not to be fucked with. But I like to encourage people, do it in a subtle way. Do it in a subtle way. Don't lash out. Don't yell. Don't curse people out unless the situation absolutely calls for it. Sometimes you got to just read a bitch down. If you got to read that person to prove a point, but you should only have to prove that point one good time. Make an example out of somebody. I'm not saying there's no situation where that's not appropriate. Sometimes that is appropriate. But I don't want you lashing out and becoming angered and enraged and taking the bait. That's what they want. That's their goal, is to antagonize you, to make you seem unstable and unbalanced. Keep your cool. Because that's what's going to infuriate them the most. That's what's going to discredit them in the end. When they see that you're cool, calm, collected, you ain't got nothing to prove. You're not even wasting your breath, wasting your precious energy. Because how flattering, how they're honored to be acknowledged by somebody like you. Negative or positive. Actually, they prefer negative. Because when it comes to being positive and optimistic and being negative and pessimistic is easier. It's easier to be consistent with that. It's more consistent. It's more predictable. People love predictability. They love consistency because it doesn't require them to think. It require them to expand their mind. But being positive and optimistic, that involves having delusional faith a lot of the times. Delusional faith, walking by faith, not sight, ignoring the 3D, which is what we're supposed to do. Because reality, none of this shit is real. This just happens to be the certain timeline that we're on, that we happen to be on. This is where our awareness is now. But there's parallel universes, different timelines, where another us exists that's living our dream life, that's living in a more favorable circumstances. But God, spirit, the universe, your inner self knows that you had to stay on this timeline for a certain amount of time to fulfill your mission. Not only giving other people the opportunity to have the change of heart, but learning lessons that we have to learn too. Because we didn't just come down here to provoke people into learning lessons. That's why people provoke you. Because without realizing it, without trying, without intentionally doing it, you're provoking them. You're provoking them without even doing nothing. That's a good sign. That means you're doing what you're supposed to do. That means your very presence is attempting to exorcise the demons out of these people. These people are operating on a demonic, satanic, low frequency. And they don't like higher dimensional beings that came from the other world, the astral plane, and incarnated into human form, because they know they can see, they know you can see right through them. You can see that demon on them. You can see that demon in them. And they know that thing needs to be eradicated. That thing needs to be exorcised. The judgment that they walk around with, the dirty little secrets, the lies that they tell about themselves, and the lies that they tell about others, their whole life is a lie. I think some people lie so much they can't differentiate the lie from the truth. It gets to a point where they lie automatically. They don't even realize that they lying. And then they have no introspection. So they don't even like unpack that, oh shit, I lied in that situation. Needlessly, unprovoked. Now, sometimes you should lie. Like when somebody's all up in your business, interrogating you. Especially if you're a young woman, you live alone, especially if you're a part of a vulnerable population and somebody that you don't know is sitting up there interrogating you, whether it's innocent or not. A lot of people, they just want to gather intel, gather information. They don't even know why they're doing it. Grown men, strangers that you don't even know, will ask young ladies, where do you live? You live around here? What do you do for work? Where do you work? Where did you go to school? Where did you grow up? They'll try to find out if you live alone. Do you have visitors often? How often are you out of the house? What type of car do you drive? And all these questions could come up rather innocuously and innocently. Just casual small talk. But in that casual small talk, they're gathering information, they're gathering intel, and you don't know them. So sometimes you gotta lie. Sometimes you gotta be a little paranoid. Because you are part of a protected class. You're a part of a vulnerable population. You're kind in an unkind world. You're an empath in a world that has no empathy. You are the empathy that this world needs. You raise the vibration by walking into the room. You raise the vibration of whatever building or establishment that you happen to be in. That's why Spirit wants you to kill them with kindness. Forgive them, not because they deserve forgiveness, but because you deserve to walk around without that baggage. Because they're not going to change. They're not hurt because you won't let go. Because you're carrying around that baggage, because you won't forgive, you feel like you can't forgive. It's not hurting them, it's hurting you. And haven't they hurt you enough? You don't deserve to be hurt by these people any longer. Don't let them affect you any longer. Let go. Let them go. The hardest thing to do is let them go with love. Because you do that, you're not holding a grudge anymore. You're no longer energetically connected with them. No matter how much they try to cling on to you and be energetically connected to you, bro, you've already let go. You let them go. You let them go with love. You sent them away. Sometimes you got to say, like, in your head or out loud. Some people feel a little silly saying it out loud. That's okay. I understand. Or you live with people, you don't really have many quiet moments to yourself. Say it in your head or out loud. Okay, listen. I rip up the karmic contract that I have with you. I send you away with love. I did everything that I could. You're obviously not going to change. I'm done with this connection. I forgive you. I release you with love and mean it. And keep saying it until you mean it. Keep forgiving them until you mean it. It's not because you're excusing what they did. It doesn't matter whether you excuse what they did or not. That's the thing. Because the forgiveness, it ain't for them. It has really nothing to do with them. It has to do with you. Because you can't move forward until you leave these people in the past. Now, I know it's hard when you're connected to this person, where you can't just walk away. Co-parenting situations. You guys share assets, properties together. Maybe going through a divorce. Maybe you work with them. Maybe they're a colleague, co-worker, a supervisor, a superior. Maybe they live with you or near you. Maybe they're a member of your family. It ain't always easy. But there's always a way out of the karmic contract. You rip that karmic contract up. Whether you want to do so ritualistically and really make sure that the universe knows and God knows, look, I'm done with this person. I'll show you how to do that step by step with pictures on the fan club. But if you don't want to do all that, a lot of people don't have time to be doing all that. If you don't have time to be doing all that, just say and mean it, guys. Mean it. Say it and mean it. I rip up the karmic contract I made with this person. There's nothing more I could do for them. I've done my part. I fulfilled my part of the contract. My obligation has been fulfilled. I let this person go with love. I forgive this person and send them away with love. I don't want anything else to do with them. I wish them the best of luck. Sometimes that's the hardest thing to do. Sometimes you can't even bring yourself to say that to somebody who has made it their life mission to ruin your life. Used, abused, mistreated. They've antagonized you. They continue to torture you and torment you. That's the hardest thing to do. Unleash your kind of self. Yeah, we know. It's not easy. It's not easy. It's the hardest thing that you're going to have to do, but it's the most beneficial. It's one of the most beneficial things that you could do is let this person go. Okay? So say somebody's actively trying to antagonize you. This happens to me all the time. I'm out and about, walking out the house. It's like I won't even make it 2 steps out the house before somebody is trying to antagonize me. This happens. Happens to me all the time. Okay? So I know. Sometimes somebody says something crazy to you. They're bullying you, name calling, hurling accusations, derogatory remarks. They're being abusive, okay? Sometimes all you gotta do is give them a good glare. Glaring at people as an earth angel, starseed, and empath as a chosen one, your eyes hold so much power. I didn't really know the significance of glaring at somebody. Like I didn't know that it would affect somebody so significantly. You just give them that look. You know how people be giving you that look? Give that look right back. Traumatize them back. Get in that same energy without stepping out of character. That's what I love about it so much. You don't have to say a word. You do the thing with your eyebrows. Everybody's glare is going to be different. Glare at them. They're calling you names, threatening you, hurling accusations, derogatory names. You sit there and you look that demon right in the eyes and you glare at it. Because it's not the person you're talking to. They're a puppet. It's the demonic entity that you're addressing. And they don't like when an earth angel looks at them, glares at them, sees right through them. It'll shake somebody to their core with just a look. You would think like a look wouldn't do that? Your eyes are so powerful, collective. I don't know if you really realize this, because I didn't realize this about myself. But you give somebody that look of disgust, that angry look, that glare, I guarantee you that person gonna leave you the fuck alone. Because if nothing else, they gonna think that you're fucking crazy. Don't say nothing. You know how intimidating that is? I think you underestimate how intimidating you are. Just your aura. You don't even gotta say nothing. I really want to emphasize that, collective. You don't gotta say nothing. Somebody's provoking you, intentionally antagonizing you, and you're a good person. You're cool. You're so laid back and cool. You mind your business. People don't like that. You stay out of the way, stay to yourself. People don't like that. Because they're going to be like, oh, they don't need nobody. Oh, they don't need me. Because they want you to want their validation so they feel validated. Once you understand, once you see through it, once your third eye is open, you can't unsee it. You see that everything that people do is a projection that comes from fear, insecurity, or a feeling of inadequacy. And of course, they're going to take it out on you because you were sent here to trigger them. But then when we get here in our human bodies, we become like very reactionary. You know, we want to react. We want to defend ourselves, defend our honor. I 100% believe defend yourself if the situation calls for it. 9 times out of 10, the situation doesn't call for it because that's what they want. They want you to step out of character. They don't want you to unleash your kind of self. You know how infuriating that is when somebody hates you, hates your guts. And remember, it's not you they hate. They hate that your light exposes their darkness. Because nobody else is able to uncover those parts of those people. People that they've known for years, their own family members, their own spouse, their own kids. They don't know how deep those secrets go. They don't know how demonic this person is. But you don't even really got to know somebody like that. You could just tell. And they know that you could tell by the way you look at them. You don't even realize you're looking at somebody. You're looking through to their soul. And these people, they don't know themselves on a soul level. Everything's surface level. Everything's shallow. Everything is carefully constructed. People want to put out a certain image. So people think about them in a certain way. They want to be perceived in the way that they want people to perceive them. Without even thinking, well, who am I really? How can I live authentically? How can I live my best life? Where I'm doing my best to be on my self-improvement journey and my spiritual journey, being the best version of myself, harming no one, elevating myself financially, physically, emotionally, spiritually, doing harm to no one, minding my own business. They ain't trying to do none of that. 99% of people ain't trying to do that because it's too difficult. And it requires shadow work and ego death. And they have identified with living within their ego because that's where they feel safe. That's their safe space. They don't know that you had to become very unsafe, feel very unsafe for a long time, a lot of times, in order to feel truly safe with yourself, in order for your inner child to truly trust you and be nurtured and be loved, in order for you to become one with your higher self. That's a true safe space. That's nirvana. That's enlightenment. That's you merging with your higher self where you can ascend to a higher timeline. It's difficult to do that. I know it's difficult to do that when your circumstances don't reflect the reality that you know that you deserve. And on top of that, people are constantly trying to sabotage everything that you got going on. Believe me, guys, I know. That's what they do. That's what they're supposed to do. They're doing their job. You know why? They're doing their job because you're doing your job. Everybody's doing their job. Now, your job is always made more difficult by these people. You signed up for a difficult job. Nobody said it was going to be easy. You knew it wasn't going to be easy. But you would never decide to incarnate here in human form if you couldn't handle what life had to throw at you. Your life isn't going to be easy because you didn't sign up for an easy life. Everything is going to be 10 times more difficult for you. You're going to have to work 10 times harder than everybody else. And a lot of that labor is emotional labor. because that's the hard work people ain't trying to do. Let me tell you. You know that, collective. They ain't trying to do no hard work. That's why they lash out at you. They're jealous and envious of you because you're minding your own business. Sometimes people say like, well, what are they jealous of? I don't get it. This person on paper is more successful than you, is more well-liked than you, and has more resources than you. What do they got to be jealous of? They're jealous that you have the reflection and introspection, because that's something that money can't buy. They're jealous that you have a natural light about you. And they're worried that the darkness of their soul will start to seep through, which it often does. A lot of people, they're so evil for so long, it starts to show physically. Ugly on the inside, ugly on the outside. You see through all that, you see it, you see it. You see them in ways that they refuse to see themselves. And seeing them for who they are, you're seeing the things that they refuse to confront. They don't like that. They think that you got something on them, so they're going to try to get something on you. That's why they antagonize you. That's why Spirit's encouraging you to unleash your kindest self. Now, that don't mean let people walk all over you and treat you like a doormat. There's some nuance here. It's not all black and white. But those who understand, you understand. Sometimes you don't have to react. You could calmly respond. And my favorite, my go-to lately, I'm telling you, you want somebody to leave you alone? Wait till they try to antagonize you, which they eventually will. Don't say nothing. Look at them, stare at them, glare at them. They're going to be so fucking shook, they'll never bother you again. And if they do, hit them with that glare. It does something to people. You're exercising your authority in the higher heavenly realms. You have authority over these demons. They don't want you to figure that out. They'll do anything in their power to prevent you from figuring that out. Because when you figure that out, now they won't be running scared. When you start to return to sender and realize that you could do that with no karmic repercussions and no backlash, and it's not going to backfire. Once you realize that you could do that and you start exercising your right to protect yourself spiritually, they're going to be running scared. They're going to be in trouble. They're in trouble now. But a lot of you guys you're just so nice. You're so kind. You give these people so much grace. But a lot of you, if you embrace the laws of the universe and know that you have authority to reverse the curse, vex the hex, and return to sender, these people don't want you figuring that out. A lot of people are scared of backlash, karmic repercussions. No, I don't want to do that. I'm scared to do stuff like that. They love that you're scared. They're betting on the fact that you'll be scared. They're hoping that you're going to be running scared, feeling attacked constantly, victimized constantly. Aren't you tired of being attacked and victimized? Aren't you tired of feeling powerless, under surveillance, antagonized, bullied? Return to sender. But you only feel empowered to do that after it gets to a certain point. You have to be ready. Okay, so in the meantime, I want y'all to glare at these people. They're either going to be scared or they're going to think that you're fucking crazy and they're going to stop fucking with you. Don't take my word for it. Try it yourself. Okay, because I know when I do that shit, people be shook. They don't know what the fuck to do. You just pulled a reverse Uno. Because they don't expect you to do shit like that. They expect you to follow the social norms. They expect you to follow the script. These people have a script in their head. Well, I'm going to start a noise campaign to antagonize this person. I'm going to start a rumor. I'm going to try to get them in trouble at work. I'm going to try to turn the other family members against them. I'm going to try to get them evicted and get them in trouble with the landlord. I'm going to try to lie and gossip with the neighbors to turn people in the community against them. And people expect you to fall right into the trap. They expect you to be antagonized and victimized so much and feel so powerless and so overpowered and overwhelmed that you end up lashing out, and then they could point the finger at you. They're waiting. So they could point the finger at you and say, see, I told you they was crazy. I told you there was something off about them. And then they don't have to work on themselves because they have effectively turned everybody against you and infiltrated your mind. Don't let these people infiltrate your mind, man. They ain't got no authority. They ain't got no power over you. The angels would not have sent you down here without no type of authority. You have authority over these demons. These demons can't hurt you. They cannot harm you. God said, touch not my anointed. You gotta believe that. Believe that you're protected, even when you feel constantly and consistently attacked. You glare at these demons, it activates something in them. They're fearful because demons cannot overpower archangels. It's just a law of the universe. That's why they have been casted out of the higher heavenly realms, and they have been directed to dwell here on earth. Okay? Unleash your kind of self. Send these people away with love. These people can't do nothing to you. Give them a nice glare. And if they still have the audacity to attack you then, I will start doing some manifestation techniques. It's up to you. I'm just telling you what has worked for me. And I share everything that has worked for me on the fan club, the membership only side of my YouTube. If you have ever been curious of how do I cut the cord? How do I return to sender? How do I protect myself? How can I manifest confidence? How can I get in touch with my intuition? I've been feeling disconnected from source. Everything that I know, I share on the fan club. That's what the fan club is there for. Every insight, spiritual download I get, they get bonus tarot readings. As soon as I get that download, I'm running to the fan club. Because these videos, these videos are just off the top. These videos just off the dome. You know, when I have time to sit down here and record these videos. But the fan club, they're always first to know. First to know, man. Big shout out to my fan club, man. You guys are amazing. I love each and every single one of you inside the fan club. Go ahead and join us inside that fan club. If you want to know how to exercise your authority so you can exercise these demons. Okay. Hey, that was a good one.